time, so we'll see how it goes. Now, there we are. All right, so we should be live on YouTube, audio, and everything should be good. I'm here with my friend Daniel Noree. It has been a long time since I've talked to you, Daniel.
Way too long.
So, like in person, Murph 2019, I guess,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah. So, and I've been meaning to catch up with you on all the stuff that you've been doing for, it seems like years now. So this is the perfect time to do it and to see what's going on with you. So, what has been up recently?
What has been up? I think just as for everyone else, the pandemic struck pretty hard. And I've just been, we're focusing on things at home. And we're lucky to be living, in this case, at least if you ask me, away from the big city. And, we can enjoy nature and we can go skiing and snowboarding or, go to the beach or whatever during the summer and enjoy our bikes and stuff like that. Um, so we're pretty lucky in that way because there aren't many people living here. So
Right.
we've been quite free in the way we can move around outside.
That's good.
Anyway, so that's been pretty great.
Good.
Yeah, and things are opening up right now, so going slightly back to normal.
Well, that's good as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we will have some sort of new normal sometime soon. But 3D printing is always there, and I can stay hidden in my basement, 3D print things, and
Speaking of your basement, I think you
yeah,
have a new backdrop,
yeah. So
right,
yeah,
for the
so
stream.
I've been slowly remodeling the whole basement for months now. It's almost been a year. But so this is the other side. This is like where all the printers are and everything, and then that black section back there, that's where I make all the videos over in that corner. So, but yeah, this is the whole print farm area. There's just printers lined up everywhere. So, yeah,
So
this is the
what
the
are the
hidden side.
printers you have right now that you're using?
Most of the time, still, everybody always asks, what's your favorite? Well, I really don't have a favorite because they're all irritating at one time or another. Uh, but for turning out parts and just getting stuff done, doing projects, I still use Mark threes mostly. I have a handful of them, but I got a couple that I like. I've got a tool changer set up that's pretty cool to play with, but it's a little bit more difficult to set up just to run some parts. So mostly it's still just the old school i3 machines. They work and they do what they're told. It's not the best print in the world, but it's pretty hassle free for the most part.
What are the kind of stuff you print?
It's mostly for projects, right? So, I do a lot of practical stuff around the house and things like that. Uh, but mostly for YouTube content. You print some parts to build this, or show something. Build cases and things like that. But a little bit of everything, and of course, a whole lot of Benchies. You really can't see the Benchy lineup up there, but I got a bunch of them. So, what have you been printing recently? Anything fun?
And I wish I had a list of cool stuff I've been printing, but actually I haven't. I honestly, it's just the CR30 that's actually plugged in right now.
Yeah, how's that going? How's your belt printing experience?
I haven't printed a lot because I haven't printed a lot, but
Yeah,
what I've printed on the CR30, it's been a pretty good experience for me, at least. I mean, I've seen people are having a lot of variety in their experience, but
right, right.
mine's been pretty good so far. But I haven't printed a lot either, so we'll just leave it at that for now, I think. But
Yeah, yeah. I have yet to get my hands on a belt printer. I do not have a belt printer yet, and it seems like one of those things. It's like going down the rabbit hole, right? Once you get started, it's like, oh, I got to get this perfect, and I don't know if I can handle that right now.
I really like the idea and the concept, and it's really cool. And I was gonna show you a print, but I don't have it here, of course. I actually had a sort of a, not a flood in here, but you see this square up here?
Yeah.
That's like a ventilation hole up to the other side of the garden, so the ground is around here.
Okay.
So we had just pouring rain one day, and it just flooded through the air vent there, in over the printers, over the bench and the floor. We had like this much water on the floor, so
Oh
I
no.
had to quickly just move everything out, dry everything for a couple of weeks, and then I moved everything in, and I haven't plugged anything
Yeah.
in yet except for the CR30 now.
Well, that's like the worst possible spot that you could have got water right
Yeah,
there.
it's like, oh man, come on. Yeah. So, but I have, not lately, but you've seen the boat, right?
Yeah, so if you follow, I don't know if have you done anything with it on Twitter? I've been following it on Patreon for it seems like a year or so maybe.
Yeah. I actually found a picture, the first picture, when I started working on it. I think it's like 4 years old or something.
Oh, really? Man.
Yeah.
May
But it's been, actually working on it. I haven't done anything in so long time.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I guess
that would be
sooner or
really
later.
interesting. However that's gonna work out,
I, I
having
can
a
show
hull that's
you show
watertight.
you what I have so far.
All right.
It's just behind the camera here. Let's
See,
see.
we're getting all the inside stuff.
Let's see. It's it's so big. It's too big, perhaps. All right.
Whoa.
So yeah.
Nice.
So actually, I have test driven it. Sort of a makeshift rudder here.
That's really cool looking. Now, did you have to are you like coating the inside with anything to keep it watertight or?
Uh, only in between the different sections.
Okay.
That's like silicone coating, and these are supposed to be watertight when it's finished, but
Nice.
it's not. I can't even get it out. So there's a lot of space in here for anyone who wants to, add like a big motor or huge battery or something.
Yeah.
So I was thinking
Nice.
you can print this in like transparent,
Yeah.
some SLA printer or something.
You could get some really cool GoPro footage on that thing.
Yeah, probably. I don't know if you are familiar with the boat brand Riva. It's called Riva. It's from Italy.
Yeah, I've heard of
I,
it. I'm
I
not
think
familiar with boats, but
this model is from like 60s or something, and they
okay.
had one model with the Lamborghini motors in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, so we'll see about that. The problem I have right now is that the steering is just not working as I want it to. And you need to be able to easily mount it in place, but now it's like you have to have a microscope, and
Right.
you can't even see it. It's in there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can come see it.
yeah, because I personally want it to be really a simple design, just as we're going to talk about the OpenRC F1.
Right.
I want it to be dead simple for everyone, and this is just it's not good, but that's
It'll get
sort
there.
of why I kind of got tired of it. Might not be the right word, but stopped working on it because I want it to be so simple that the simplicity almost got complicated. It's hard to explain, but it's just
Yeah.
I don't know.
I,
Yeah,
I totally get that. I mean, sometimes you focus on, how things go together and making it as simple as possible, and then you're overworking it, right?
yeah, yeah,
Now you're getting, yeah, I totally understand that. I've tried to do that a million times, and it's hard to keep going iteration after iteration, especially something that size,
yeah.
you know.
It's really
So
big. I think
I can
that's
totally
one
see
of
that.
the best things when working on a project like the F1 or any other project. You print the parts and you try them out, you test them, and you tweak them and tweak the design and print new parts. This is like it takes ages to print this stuff, and
Right.
and once you assemble it, and it's like, nah, that's not good. Let's go again. It's like,
Yeah.
no, no way.
Well, yeah. Well, in one failure, I'd be done for the week. I mean,
Yeah.
if one of those
And
hull pieces failed, I'd
and
be
the thing
so
is, if you have like an RC car, you just print the parts and you go out on the street and test them out, and they break
yeah,
or whatever, or they don't. This
yeah,
is like you have to make everything waterproof, and you have to glue it all together, and it's such a
right,
lot of work because before you can just go for a test drive.
yeah. I can see that. That was one thing I've been on your site and looked at the parts list and stuff just to try to get a lay of the land. Have you? I didn't. I know you've done Truggy and the F1. Have you ever done a monster truck? I know there's a few out there, but have you ever attempted one?
Nope.
No. I kind of wanted to like convert one, like maybe take the Truggy and step it up to
Yeah.
like monster truck size. I thought that'd be pretty cool, but I don't know. I always wanted one of those when I was a kid. The giant remote
I
control.
know the guy who did the differential for the F1. He's
Mhm.
done a monster truck, I think,
Okay.
and it's something worse, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a couple out there, but I was
Yeah.
curious. I don't know. That'd be one project I'd like to try, but we'll see if I ever get to it. So, OpenRC. So, and that's kind of what spurred this call on because over the summer I was trying my best not to just do work. I was trying to actually do something entertaining for once. So I decided to get the OpenRC out again. And because it's always a lot of fun. I've always loved RC cars. I had, I don't even remember what brands they were back in the day when I was, like 20 years ago or more. No, man, I'm old. But so the OpenRC, you're just like you said though, it's easy. You can replace the parts, things like that. I actually used the first time I used old school NiCad batteries and my old brush motor and a really old school Duratrax ESC and I just put it all together and it was all that stuff was so big it wouldn't even fit in the car. So I had to leave the top off and drive it around. And it still worked. I mean, everything was ancient. It still worked, but it was pretty slow. So I decided to go back and get all new stuff and ramp it up with new parts and things. So that's what I've been doing this summer, and so much so I even started working on building another one. So now I have two OpenRC cars, the two F1s. But I'd like to branch out into more. But that's what got this whole conversation started. Uh, you know, Learning a little bit about the history of OpenRC. How did this come about? Where is it at in the community today? Like I mean, because it seems like everybody has an F1 car. Things like that. So that was the thing I really wanted to kick off, and I thought I'd just let you talk to that for a little bit, just to kind of tell us how it came about.
Yeah. So this is this story started when I got my first 3D printer back in 2011, actually. So it's like a 10-year anniversary this year. And let me just fix that. So I think you have some pictures as well.
I
I
do,
sent you.
I do.
Uh, I got the printer and I was super stoked about that, and I wanted to show all my friends, how cool 3D printing really is, because I printed, some nuts and bolts like everyone else, and people were like, "Yeah, not that cool." So I was thinking I need sort of a cool project to show off what you can really do with it with a 3D printer. So I started to think about it, and I came to the conclusion that a RC car would be really cool. And there weren't a lot of people that had done that before, so there were a few, but half and half, a little. Half of the car was taken from some other RC car and put together, and I started to look into it and try to get all the parts, but it was super complicated because I had to basically buy an entire car.
Right.
So I started looking at RC cars and what should I aim for. So at first I think my goal was to see if it was possible for me to do it, actually build a RC car from scratch. So I started to build a touring car, a rally car, and I looked at other cars, off the shelf cars, to see how they were built, and I copied designs and I then converted them to something that would fit me and my project, and to be able to print it on a 3D printer. So I just built that project part by part, and I've sort of finished it. It's not a great design, but it was mainly for me to, explore 3D printing, the possibilities, and the design of a actual RC car.
Right.
So I did that, and that was super fun. It was belt driven and 4-wheel drive. I took parts from, I don't know if you're familiar with RC cars, but from a X-ray car.
Okay.
They're like some sort of top notch exclusive cars. Anyway, I finished that, and it was really fun. And I decided that I would be able to actually build or design and build a car from scratch for, and I mean, design it for 3D printing. So I looked around and I decided I would go for a truggy. I was more of a heavy terrain car. And in the beginning, I said, I won't stop until I can throw it off a balcony or something and it
Right.
will hold up. And maybe that was aiming a little high, but in a way, it was what I was going for. So I started to look at, the dimensions of other cars and looking at what was needed in terms of design. And I just started working my way up from a base plate and the chassis and everything else. And I decided to design the, I don't know what they're called, but housings for the differentials
Hmm.
and the actual differential itself. And looking back, it's not the best design, but you can replace them with off the shelf parts, which is pretty cool.
Right.
So I just worked on that for a long time. And I think when I finished it, I was pretty happy with the result, but it was, in a way, I think I designed it for the stuff. I mean, the printer I had, and I had all the knowledge. I had, iterated on it for 2 years or something. So I knew all the parts and I knew everything. I knew the, print settings and everything. So for someone else to print it, I realized that it was a little too complicated for, any person to just download it and hit print.
Right.
So when I had worked for that for a couple of years, I said to myself that I want to design something that, anyone can print or close to anyone. So I needed the design with, super loose tolerances and a simple enough design that you can just put together and, have fun. Even
Right.
without the actual electronics, you can have a, something to show off your 3D printing on a shelf or something, or you
Yeah.
can add electronics and have some extra fun with it. So that was the goal when I set out to design it, and I thought you could maybe
Yeah. Let's
show some pictures from.
let's see what we got here. Uh,
And the thing
oh,
is, when I started, the only material I had was ABS, so that everything was designed in ABS as well.
yeah. I wanted to touch on that as well because we've talked about this in the past. But right. So when you got started, and my dog is walking around in the background here. So, uh, but when you got started, everything was ABS, right? So tolerance and everything like that would be completely different than printing in PLA. You would have to design those parts with a certain amount of tolerance for either one of those plastics.
Yeah. So the truggy is, I mean, that's basically designed for ABS. I was going to show you something, but I don't know where it is. Anyway, yeah, throw up the pictures.
Okay. And do you have any particular way you want to start on these, or you want to
I
just go
think
for it?
go from the top there.
Uh,
So this is actually the first iteration of the car. I think we'll look more on that later. And in the middle is the touring car, the first car I did, and the truggy in the distance there. So you can go for the next picture. So this is, I worked at a metal shop, so I laser cut the bottom plate and just printed everything else on top of it. And
nice.
Yeah. So that was really fun, that car. I really enjoyed driving it. I
Yeah.
think that is probably the most fun I've had because it was drivable in a way that the F1 isn't because of, yeah, obvious reasons.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah. I remember, all the nylon parts, and you had to spend extra to get the aluminum chassis and all that.
yeah,
You always wanted the upgrade parts.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the layout of all the parts that I did. After I really, if there's one thing that I was lacking on the F1, it was the documentation part. So there are some drawings and some instructions, but they, it's not really perfect, but I guess it helps in a way. So this is part of the instructions, I think.
Okay, gotcha.
And this is the truggy. And this, I started off in ABS only, and then after a while, I got the chance to try out some nylon. I think there was Talman 3D who did the
Mhm.
first, and I bought two spools, and I still have one of them left. And that nylon 618 was the first, and that was just crazy hard to print.
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
these days you have like nylon 910 or nylon from any other
yeah,
reseller actually that
bridge
print.
and things like that.
Yeah, that
I
print.
still have my like half of my original spool of 618, and I still
Really?
use it once in a while. Yeah.
Hold on, I have it here. I'm just gonna show everyone because it's not even on a spool. So I remember I took the time to actually put it on a spool later. So this is my
Yeah.
102 first nylons.
Yeah. They don't even make that stuff anymore.
No, that's crazy hard to print, but it was super durable.
Yeah. Yeah, mine is just like that. I've still got it. Yeah, it's good stuff, but yeah, it's definitely hard to print. All right. Oh, I can go full screen on this. Nice.
Sweet. Yeah, and I printed when you can go back for a minute there.
Yep.
I don't know if you've seen the bike grip that I did.
No, I don't think so.
Uh, that was such a long time ago, but I decided to. That was in the same at the same time they released the first TPU
Okay.
widely, the Ninja Flex,
Right.
and I was like, wow, I can print the tires. Just so I did it just because I could, and I thought it was really cool. It's not perfect; they're a little hard, but
Yeah.
it's quite fun to be able to drive a car where you've actually 3D printed your own tires. So at the time, this is like, I don't know what time it was, but 2013 perhaps.
Mhm.
That was pretty cool. And I printed a bike grip as well. And the comments on that video is so weird. People were like accusing me of lying because they were like, you can't print that grip. And I made a video, and I even showed the little layer lines, and people were like, no, you're lying. You can't do that. It's molded. Whatever.
Good old YouTube.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. That's my favorite part, honestly, about the cars is printing the tires.
Yeah.
I find it so satisfying to pull those tires off, and they're squishy and they work. And I mean, after you run them once and get them roughed up a little bit, they work great.
Yeah.
So
And that was one of the things showing this off at trade fairs and stuff. People were like, "What? You 3D print the tires? Can you do that?" Yeah,
that's the first thing. We'll switch to this layout and see where. But that is one of the first things when I hand somebody my OpenRC card. They're like, "This is 3D printed," and I'm like, "Yep, pretty much all of it." And they're like, "Not the tires." I'm like, "Oh yeah, the tires." And
oh
then I
yeah,
hand them one of the tires by itself, and you can squish it, and their face is just, they're just blown away. I love that part. That's my favorite part about 3D printing is you get to bring new users in.
yeah. So this is the first iteration that I did, and the F1 is designed in Fusion 360,
Okay.
but this first iteration is done in another software. So I started off in that, and in at this time, I also quit my job and started working at a company creative tools that sells 3D printers and softwares and anything 3D really.
Mhm.
And they're the ones responsible for the Benchy as well.
Right.
And before I had used another 3D software, you're used to the software. It's like having your own pet or whatever.
Right.
It's really
Yeah.
hard to switch
It is.
to another software, and they were using Fusion 360, so I just had to go down that route. So I first did this first iteration in the software I had, and then I just decided that this might be a perfect time for me to learn Fusion 360. So I did this one, like a dummy. I printed it and put it together just to see how it would look, and then I just swapped to Fusion and started over again.
Okay. Nice. Are you still using Fusion now? I mean, is that still your go-to software?
Yeah.
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 I'm still using it too.
Yeah, this is like an early drawing of the first iteration as well.
Nice.
And the print.
So
I
this is
actually
what.
think the front spoiler is backwards. That's weird. Like a nice air inlet.
So the original one, it was all one piece there in the front.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, it's when it's put together.
It almost looks like, I don't know how familiar everyone is over the world with Radio Shack, but you remember back in the 90s, like the late 80s, that's what all of their RC cars look like, just like that. But then you put stickers on them.
I think sticker does a lot to the looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just another picture of the same iteration.
Gotcha.
And another one. That's a tire rack that Anton made. I don't know if you've seen it before.
I was gonna say, this is the best part of that photo. I love that tire rack. That is so cool. It's the little things like that really make me laugh. I love that stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, so then I started working with the Fusion, and one of the cool things is the sculpt. You're able to sculpt parts, and
Yeah.
I had never done that before. So, and also printing the main body, if you say,
Yeah.
designing that was a great application for trying to learn the sculpting part. So
Yeah.
that really made that design a lot better than the one before as well. Gave it more a natural look to it, I think.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
The sculpting
experience.
is something I really have a hard time getting a handle on. It's not, I don't know. I'm okay with the straight lines and and building stuff, sketching and stuff like that. But the sculpting, I never really got into it or got the hang of it. But,
I think it's really, for me, it's quite hard as well.
Yeah.
So yeah. But people these days are just crazy, talented with the
There's
things
so
they
many
do.
good designers out there that do that stuff.
Yeah. And also,
crazy.
when I started, I had background in CAD, and it was like in the really early days, it was easy to, get through the noise because you had the experience and you could design models that were a little more accurate, perhaps, if you say,
Yeah.
than others. But these days, it's just people are crazy good, and
Yeah.
obviously, has a lot to do with having access to softwares like Fusion and others as
Right.
well. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I remember when Fusion started spinning up. A lot of us were using all the Autodesk people were using 123D.
Yeah.
It was like light years away from Fusion. Fusion was just amazing.
And this is where I started to I designed like the body and everything, and then I started to do the little mechanical parts one by one, and test them out. And it's it's always, when I do a project like this, I always finish it to maybe 95%, and then I just lose all interest. So the last 5% is so hard to finish. That was just crazy.
So
And
what?
one
Go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry.
No, at this time when you were designing this, what printer were you designing it for? Like, how big was it?
This one.
Okay,
So this is the MakerBot Replicator 2X,
gotcha.
and I tried to keep it within that build volume.
Okay,
And I think, yeah, that was, yeah. So that was really hard. These days, I would just, go for something like a Prusa build plate or something.
right.
I think that's pretty. If I mean, if it fits in that, it would probably fit on most printers if you don't have like one of those super small ones.
Yeah,
So that's really hard. I wanted to design it for everyone else's printer more
right,
than my own, perhaps. But uh, yeah, I think it almost, you know, worked because it's impossible to print it. There's actually been people that have cut this up to fit even smaller printers. So that's one of the cool things about the 3D printing community as well. You don't have to do everything yourself.
right,
You can just release everything, and other people will do make their own solutions.
right. Yeah, that's the best part. All the I love the remixes. My part usually isn't all that great, but somebody will come along and make it really good. So then I'll use theirs.
It's that, yeah. And I think one of the in my philosophy, when I got a 3D printer, you come before that it was downloading stuff from DC plus plus or whatever,
Mhm.
and you had to, because I was into SolidWorks way back when, and I wanted it so bad, but I didn't have anything else to offer, so I couldn't download anything because you had to give something in return, and I had nothing. So
Yeah,
in the end, I solved it anyway. But so it was really important for me to that I had the ability at the time to design something like the Truggy or the F1. So I really wanted to share the step files and not only the STL files.
right.
So that's why I've always um, included like a step file with the assembly files, because that makes it so much easier if you're like a user and you want to you know change parts of the design, or make your own or whatever. It makes
Yeah.
it so much easier.
Well, and when you get into a project and you start pulling in the files and you realize that it has the step files, it's like, oh, I love this project now. It's so much better that way.
Yeah. And here you can see on the body, it's got a hole in it. I spent
Hmm.
some time, shelling it out and getting even thickness around the parts, because I think the shape was too complex to just, put the thickness on it. So I had to do it manually, and that was quite a lot of work, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is around the end of summer, and I was going to show this off on a trade fair together with Autodesk, you know, to show a fusion, and I was going to do a presentation and stuff. And I just been lingering all summer and not doing anything. So at this time, it's just you know things are heating up. I need to
Yeah.
finish this project. So started working later and later at night. Uh, you know, tired in the mornings, going to work, and like, yeah, sorry guys, half capacity or something. But at the same time, this is when I realized that this might actually work.
Right.
And you work a lot on a project, you put in so much time, and then when you're printing it and you're putting it together and it's starting to look like what you have envisioned at some point, and
Yeah.
that's when you get new energy, and you just like, oh man, I got to finish this to see the what the finished result will be.
Right.
So this is like the time when I get renewed energy, and just going full on.
Nice.
So I'm testing, that the battery fits and the motor fits and stuff like that, and the steering was just a huge headache.
Yeah.
And it's not like I was hoped it would be, but at the end I just had to finish it and do something, because
Right.
I had to finish it. So, and at the same time, I'm releasing all the files, so there are way better steerings out there and suspensions and all that kind of stuff, but we can go into that later.
Yeah, I almost like it better without the wing. I don't know why. It has kind of a flavor to it with that slope back on it. I like that.
It's a little kind of old school
Yeah,
1920s race car.
that's cool.
Yeah, and so the nose is there, the steering is there, front wing is there, getting closer. And this is, man, I was so tired. I don't know if you can see it on this picture, but my eyes were like, "Ugh."
I've seen this picture before and I love it. But
And this is at a hobby trade fair in Stockholm that I did together with Creative Tools. And this
mhm.
was the first time I showed it off, outside my house or not on a picture, in real life. And I don't think I hadn't finished the steering properly. It wasn't really 100% finished, but you can hold it up and you can show it off to people,
Yeah.
and that was really fun to be able to do that. And we had, oh man, we had this big table with trains, 3D printed trains. We had RC cars, and we had all kind of fun toys that we had printed.
What's the
That w-
story with the drone up there in the corner?
that's actually, I can show it. It's at some point I decided I wanted to make a drone. Here it is.
Nice.
Somebody called it a teapot because, and the body might look like it. The idea behind this, okay, this is just a short sidetrack. I wanted to, all the drones that I could find that was 3D printed, they had like a open arm design, and I wanted to enclose the ESCs, in the arms and make it a little more slick.
Hmm.
So there's all the cables are routed inside here, and the ESC, and it's put together with zip ties. I don't know if you can see them.
Yeah, I see that.
There are like little channels inside the arms. So I put like a ton of work into designing these arms, and then I completely lost interest, and that's why the rest of the design looks a little, yeah, like a teapot. But
That's still cool.
it works, and I have flown it, so
Oh, nice.
yeah, good times.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now it was time to uh, finish the design, because there was this big trade fair coming up where I was going to join Autodesk and also do a presentation. So I wanted to release the design
Hmm.
at the same time. So, release all the files, have all the instructions done and everything like that. And that was just, man, 24/7 job. And this is like, you looked at it and it looked finished, but there's still so much to do. And I
Yeah.
don't think people realize, downloading stuff and printing, and they have all kinds of critique of, what they think it should be like. But there's such a huge amount of work that people put into these projects.
Oh, yeah.
And but you can't always, see it just from looking at it.
Yeah. Well, documentation is where I do not do well. That's
Me
I
neither.
always
It's not my thing. I
yeah,
try, but,
yeah.
I'm not
I
perfect.
never get around to that.
No. So this is a table at the trade fair, and they have this little paper there on the project and on me, because that was also in the beginning of Fusion, so they needed to show this off.
Hmm.
At the trade fair, people were like Inventor or SolidWorks, or even the bigger CAD systems.
Right.
But it was pretty cool, and I got to show that off, and a bunch of other stuff. I have Mark's 3D printed flowers there as well, and a
Oh,
vase.
nice.
Yeah, yeah, and that's me. Shorter hair, no beard, a big old Benchy.
That is a big old Benchy.
Yeah, I haven't been to a trade fair where I haven't shown off the Benchy, I think.
I was going to say, do you get tired of people talking to you about the Benchy?
No, I I like it, and it's fun to see what people, having done that and everything we did in the beginning with the Benchy, and what it was actually designed for. It's interesting to see what people think about it today, because they have a totally different idea about what the Benchy is and should be today than the idea we had from the beginning.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's become our unofficial mascot, basically. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody knows it. It's just, I don't know. And I haven't helped things. I'll be 100% honest. I've taken
But
the Benchy a little too far.
I think it serves its purpose, like it was originally designed to do, and I think it's done it pretty well.
Yeah.
And I think it's a show of how big it's actually become. When people make videos or blog posts or whatever, and they don't even give the attribution that the license says you should.
Yeah.
So it's more like it's so big now that it doesn't even matter anymore. People just print it, post it, or do whatever.
Right. Yeah, I was actually reading that license the other day because I was going to do something to it. I'm like, I probably shouldn't share that.
No. So this was we're gonna come back to that fair. I think there's a little, but I wanted to get more grip on the tires. So this is actually silicone. I'm pointing at the screen like you should see it. But anyway, I poured out a lot of silicone and I just drove the tires over a bunch of times and let it dry, and it came out pretty good actually, but it wears off quick as really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
and
nice.
this, yeah, Merry Christmas version I did.
I like it. Now this one's interesting. I really like this idea.
Yeah, so this was like the first winter, and I don't know if this is because there's this Swedish guy called Thomas who's designed like a gazillion amount of different tire sets. I don't know if this is by me or him, I don't remember, but during the winter, and I thought like, we have to have some sort of winter tires. So I designed these, or if Thomas did, I don't remember. And I think they worked pretty well, but the car is so light and it's so low, and it's not great for snow, but
Yeah,
want to have a little fun, it works for that.
that's awesome. There you
And these
go.
are the infamous ice spike tires.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool looking car. I like that.
Those are a topic of hot debate as well.
Did they provide any extra traction?
Not really.
Yeah.
Well, for the back tires, sure, but it's so light in the front, and it's so hard. I think you would need to have it 4-wheel drive to be able to, have a proper traction on ice.
Yeah. Just not enough weight there.
Yeah, and it's more like a fun
Yeah.
thing to do. Yeah, so and it was fun.
We need to do like a Mad Max version, with all these different weapons and stuff on it. That'd be pretty cool.
I think there actually is. If you look on,
Really?
because Pin Shape had, back in the day, they had a contest with you can design different mods, and I actually think there is a Mad Max version over there.
Nice.
And it's a shame that I don't know if those are on other sites, but there's a bunch of stuff on Pin Shape for the OpenRC F1 car.
Cool.
So this is the weird thing is, like, when I went to school, and you're in at 9th grade, I just you did presentations in front of the car, in front of the class.
Hmm.
Just I hated that. That was like the worst thing ever. And I just said to myself, I'm never ever ever going to speak in front of a bunch of people again. And with this project, or 3D printing in general, it's just totally changed all that. And I've done a ton of presentations, some good, some not so good. And this one was the first I did in English,
Oh, okay.
on Murph back in 2017, and that was a ton of fun. I really like that, and I think speaking English, which is not my native language. I think you learn so much by doing something like this, and you know, challenging yourself, and all that kind of stuff. But it was really cool to be able to do a presentation of this in front of the Murph crowd as well, because it was fully packed, so many people watching as well.
Yeah.
People coming up afterwards and asking a bunch of questions, and just talking. That was a ton of fun.
Yeah, I do miss those events.
And this is the back to the trade fair again. And this is probably, speaking of presentations, this could be the worst presentation I've ever done. And this was Autodesk's own presentation, and I was one of the guys speaking. And it was just I'd been working on the car for so long, and 24/7. I was so tired, and even into the last seconds before the fair, I didn't prepare the presentation or anything. I just worked on the car the entire time. So when it was time for the presentation, I wasn't really prepared, and it was, oh man, it was horrible. But it's
Yeah.
over. Yeah.
Yeah, that's happened to me a few times as well.
And this is another trade fair or a hobby fair, and this one is pretty cool because this is an old, what do you call it? Bunker,
Yeah.
airplane
Yeah.
bunker. So there's a bunch of this is down in the ground, and there's a bunch of planes, warplanes and helicopters and stuff down there, and it's decommissioned since many years, but it's from the Cold War. But that was pretty cool. So we had our little table just next to this jet fighter. I just had to
Nice.
put the F1 on it just to have that picture. It's pretty cool.
That'd be really cool. And you have the line of Benchies back there. That's always good.
Yeah. So this is back to the ice tires as well.
Yeah.
I mostly just spun around doing donuts. And not that I meant to do them, but that's that's the only thing that came out of that drive.
Well, you have to try.
And this is just some render I did in the beginning. It's so much fun when you've finished the project, or finished the design. You can put some stickers on it in Fusion and do some renders, and everything looks really cool.
Yeah.
And I think this is the 2017 version, when I did a new front spoiler. I reworked the rear wing as well. And one of the things I really don't like, one of the things that I'm really pissed off at myself, I widened, because I tried to follow the rules of the real F1 cars.
Uh-huh.
And one of the bigger changes was the rear tires were becoming wider. So I just made them super wide for some weird reason. And they look horrible. So that's one thing I always annoys me when I see that, or a picture, or somebody asks about it. I just say, don't print that, because it sucks. And this is printed in Color Fab HT, I think it's called, high temp copolyester.
Gotcha.
No, yes,
Yep.
yeah, exactly. And this is one of my favorite prints of all time. It's the Protopasta, I think it's called Smoke Silver or something, PLA, HD PLA.
Yeah.
And I really like the look of it with the stickers. And I think the orange is probably some Make-A-Bot
Yeah.
orange, old
I
PLA.
I've seen that in some of your videos. That's a really good looking car.
Yeah, it looks really cool. And those it has the Tamiya tires, I think. I don't
Okay.
remember what brand it is, but those are off the shelf tires. That helps a lot with traction as well. And this is that car next to a 2015 version in PLA.
How many whole cars? Like how many do you think that you've assembled complete cars?
Somewhere between 10 and 15, perhaps.
Okay.
I have, let me show you a box I have. this is just so I just and then there are a couple on the floor, and it's probably more like 15 to 20 perhaps when I think about it.
It's actually kind of hard for me to not make them. I really enjoy assembling them and printing the parts and things like that, especially doing dual color. And that's something I was going to ask you about. Uh,
This is my son's car, and he put an FPV camera on it, so he
nice.
drove it around with the goggles and stuff. And it's a little crashed, but still holds together.
But I really when I don't want to keep saying back in the day, but when you had the two color, you could print separate parts with your design, and then just kind of glue the inserts like here on this orange and gray car. You could do that, and then when I print the two color ones, I just do MMU and smash the parts together in the slicer and let it print it. But then you have the Mclaren, where did the Mclaren design come from? How did that come about? And then how did you split that so that you could do two color? Because it's got some really interesting, like where it actually goes into separate parts, like especially around the back.
Yeah, you can. I think there are a couple of pictures you can pull up.
Okay. Let's see what we got here. Oh, nice.
I can just fast forward through that, and we can go back later. So yeah, back up. So this is the Mclaren version. I wanted to. There was something. Yeah, I got a chance to try out the Sigma when it first came out.
Okay.
The dual extruder, and so I wanted to do something with the F1 that would highlight what the having a dual color printer would be like. So this year the Mclaren looked similar to this. I mean, their design obviously looks a lot better, but this is just basically cut from the side. I was just doing a sketch, a little curvy, and just cut it through the model.
Okay.
And that's really easy when you have like a step file or something. You can easily do something like that. And so I did that, and putting everything in the slicer the correct way, and the correct positions. Was probably what took the most time to do.
Yeah.
And that was
just that that used to be such a headache. That has come so far to put lining them up correctly to be able to slice them.
Yeah. So, but I haven't seen a lot of these actually as a make. I like this one, and I like the shark fin thing in the back as well.
Yeah, and this is the only reason why I might print one more, is because I really want the Mclaren one too.
Yeah, I don't know why people haven't printed it, if they think it's too hard or maybe not as good looking as the other ones, or I don't know.
I don't know. I like that one though.
You can show the other pictures after that as well. Yeah, for the printed one. So this is a render I did. Cool. And I think it looks really cool.
It does look really good.
Yeah, I really like that one.
I was trying to figure out how to do like on the actual flexible tire. I was trying to figure out the best way to actually get some writing on it, like put some print on it, but I didn't have enough time to actually figure it out. But
I thought. But how would you do that?
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to think
of
like
or something.
I don't know. Well, I think you could probably you could print the words. You could, maybe flex might be a little difficult, but you could print them and then maybe like use it kind of as a stamp to dye it, like make the letters white. I don't know. I guess I could use white flex for the first couple of layers.
Yeah.
There you go.
Would be cool to see. You should do that.
I might give it a shot.
And then, of course, when you've designed it and print it, you need to, have a little photo session.
That's right. There you
And
go.
this is just another car. So you can go back a little bit again, I think.
How big is that machine behind you? That's a monster.
That's huge.
Yeah.
The company that makes those is called BLB Industries. I think they've changed name right now, but they also had like this big wrench. Have you seen the wrench? This one.
Yes. Yeah, I
So
have
they
seen it
printed one
before.
that was supersized, so I can just hold it like this. I wanted to put it, on the wall behind the sofa in the living room, but my wife wasn't as
She,
impressed as I
she
was.
didn't think much about that, huh? That's why I'm in the basement.
So this is Tom from Tolman 3D. And as I said, he was such a huge supporter of the projects I did, and with the nylon and stuff, because I bought the nylon and I printed a bunch of stuff, and he contacted me, and then he was just sending me new materials and new stuff to try out. So I'm super grateful for Tom and everything he's done, for me and supporting my projects. That's been really important, exploring new materials that we all take for granted
Yeah.
today. So because during the truggy, that changed everything, having access to nylons to
Right.
print stuff instead of only ABS, because obviously stuff broke
Yeah.
like a lot.
A lot.
Yeah. So, and I finally got to meet him at Murph 2017.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And
You
this
see
is,
Moose.
yeah, honestly, I'm a little ashamed. I don't remember his actual name.
I don't either, but I've met him a couple of times.
Yeah, he's such a cool dude. And
Yeah.
he printed, you can see how small that F1 is. And he said he wanted to print one that small and put electronics in it. But I guess other things got in the way of that. But
That
that
would
was
be
really
really
cool.
interesting.
Yeah, that was really cool. He had his family with him, and they were super nice as well. So I really enjoyed that. That was cool
Yep.
meeting him. But I haven't seen anything from him in the last couple of years. I don't know if he's still active or
Yeah.
probably focusing on school or something.
Yeah. He's probably already mastered 3D printing. He's like
Yeah,
working on
moving
nuclear
on.
engineering or something.
Yep. Yeah. And this is how small it is.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And Ryan, of course.
Yep.
And that was back then. It was I didn't realize how the how it had spread through the community,
Hmm.
because we went to Murph, and you meet the people you have met online, and it wasn't a lot. And then suddenly Ryan came up to me and he was like, I printed your car, you need to sign it. I was like, what? But why? So that was really cool. And then after Ryan, I mean, I would like to call him my friend now. He's the coolest dude,
Yeah.
and we chat from time to time. And after Ryan, a bunch of other people came up as well with their cars, and I was like, what? So weird.
Yeah. Ryan's a trip. I've had a handful of conversations with him over the years, and one of the first times I met him, he came up to me and he shook my hand. He looked me right in the eye, and he's like, "I really appreciate what you do." And I swear to you, I looked over my shoulder like, "What?"
Who's he talking to?
He's just a really cool guy.
Yeah, and this was one of the first larger upscaled cars. This was done by Simi CNC. I think first Colorfab did like a 250% version. Maybe this is the same. I don't know. But that was pretty cool to see as well. I just came there and were like, what? When they, bunch of prints. And the
Yeah.
one to the right there, I think that's the one with they had put, the quadcopter motors, brushless motors in each tire.
Oh wow,
Yeah, so that was crazy. There's a video of it as well. That ran really great.
that's cool. There you
Yeah, nice picture.
go.
They completely destroyed the with the motors in it. That was completely destroyed. I think they rebuilt it later though.
There you go.
Yeah, there you get a good picture of it. Yeah. And that's back in the bunker. I just had to take a picture like that next to the helicopter. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Helicopters and airplanes and stuff, it's fascinating. And all this, Cold War era stuff, it's just freaky. I don't know if you're living in Europe and they tell you these stories about how the pilots were actually sleeping in the planes in the corridor up to the runway, ready to go at a moment's notice because of the Russians. And it
Wow.
was just another time. That was just hearing those stories makes you think. And we take our freedom for granted sometimes, but that was just crazy.
That is crazy.
And we did some competition together with Joel, and that's where this came about. So I made two of these with the 3D printing nerd sticker on it, and so one was sent to Joel, which I think he actually still has in his studio,
Yep, he does.
and the other one was sent to the competition winner.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, there's
And back
one.
to the Mclaren, yeah.
Yeah, I might have to build one of those.
I think you have to.
Yep.
Do you think you would use some other colors or?
Yeah, because I have a red and white one red, white, and black, and then I've got a red, blue, and silver one. So I'm gonna have to do something maybe a little darker. I was thinking about that. What would you do? I don't know. I almost kind of want to do like a gunmetal in something. I don't know. I'll have to think on it.
Do you have like a vinyl cutter?
I do.
Sweet. So you can make the sticker.
Yeah.
Cool. That doesn't have anything to do with the with the OpenRC project, but this is a printer I designed also, if we're gonna speak about back in the day.
Right.
So I wanted a Delta printer. And I was working at the metal shop. We had the laser cutters and all kinds of machinery. So I decided to make my own and design it from scratch. And I printed with it once, perhaps. It was, looking back, it wasn't the greatest design. I think it's in a storage somewhere at Creative Tools in the south of Sweden. So
Nice.
might still be alive. I don't know.
It might be worth something someday. You never know.
You never know, but it's fun doing projects like this. You
Yeah.
learn a lot.
So
And this is, yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people knew about this one. This one was all over the place in 2018, I think.
Yeah.
So did you? How big of a role did you play in this whole thing? Did Joel like consult with you on how to take this thing apart and reprint it or anything like that?
I don't remember the story about that, but I think he just sent a picture and like of a huge tire or something.
Okay.
And that I honestly don't remember, so I'm not going to say too much, but I think he did, print something like a test or something,
Right.
for, whatever, a video or something. And he just figured that, if it printed that part huge, why not the rest of the car as well?
Yep.
So I think that's the way it started, but I'm going to leave that story to Joel, I think. But
Yeah.
that's just a crazy project, and it's so heavy.
Yeah, I'll bet it is, because I'm
And
sure that's all PLA.
yeah, as Joel is a full-time YouTuber, I don't understand. It's hard to grasp, the time you have to put into this project for one video, or 3 or 4 or whatever
Right.
it was in the end. But there's such amount of time, and print time and filament and assembly and parts breaking and doing it all over again. And yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine what he put into that. How many hours there in that thing?
But that would look pretty cool having up on the wall in the living room, or in the office, perhaps. This is just I did a test print for a new material that came out. Yeah, way back when. That was called Fatselan C8, I think. And the thing with that material was that this is 0.2 millimeter layer height,
Mm-hmm.
and the surface was super smooth. It's like I've seen this with other materials as well, where you almost it hides the layer lines in a way, or So
Huh. Interesting.
that was pretty cool. I think there's another picture as well.
Wow, it does.
I
That one
mean,
really looks smooth.
yeah, I mean, sure, the photo is crap, but it does look great. I actually have it here. Hold on. Or parts of it. I'm just gonna stop crashing cars because they break.
Nice.
And I think this is. I don't. Have you seen the under extrusion tires? I did.
No, I haven't seen that one.
So this is actually the infill is under extruded on purpose, and the sides are barely hanging on because I want it to be as squishy as possible. And
Mm-hmm.
if print it without under extrusion, you get solid, solid. The layers are properly laid down, and you get almost like a the pattern inside if you do
Right.
hexagon or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like maybe 85% infill, but it's under extruded, so it's like a what's it called? Like a
Like foam or something. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So I did a video on that, and you should actually, because
I should check that out.
it's really cool. So the outside is smooth, but the inside is under extruded, so it's really, really, really soft, and it adds. I'd like to think that adds a little bit of grip.
Cool.
Yeah, and this is just another render.
I like it. I like that theme.
I think this is the latest version as well.
Oh, that's got like the part of the roll cage and stuff on it too. That's cool.
Yeah, the halo and the new front wing. I wanted to make a bigger front wing, and just with like the tires of the 2017 version, it came out a little too big. I don't know why that is, but it's something I do not master yet. It's also the thing is when you design something and you look at it, on the screen, and you think this is the perfect size. I mean, you have the measurements and everything, so you can see, but still I print it and it comes out, wow, that's really small, even though, I put the dimensions on there myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing I've always struggled with. I have to have some sort of ruler next to me or something to to like eyeball it and then put it in to
Yeah.
make sure, or it's going to be that way. And
Yeah.
I can never get it quite. I can't eyeball it in CAD. It's just not possible.
Yeah, so this is another photo session. This is a photo by Anton. He takes so much better pictures than I do. But I like this photo. I think it's really cool. And this is outside our office that we had for a couple of years, where we, sunny summer days, we took our coffees and we went outside on the street and drove our cars until they broke. Oh man, that was such a good time.
And that's it. I think that's all of them.
Man, nice going down a trip down memory lane.
So that's breaking parts on the OpenRC. What's the most common part that you break on this design?
The front wheel axles, I think.
Okay.
The wheels coming off.
Yeah.
Or the front, or the nose, the front wing break.
The front wing is definitely the one I pieced together the most.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's been a while though, but
yeah.
You just have to print a lot.
Yep. Gotta have lots of spare parts. And that's the best part. You always have spares.
Yeah, you should. I'm just gonna go real quick, pin shape, and search for OpenRC. There was actually someone messaging me the other day asking for the DRS system. You know what it is?
No.
It's for the rear wing to open up and let through more air.
Okay.
And there, I haven't done it, but there was actually a dude that did that for 5 years ago or something, and it's on the pin shape, like mechanic with a servo.
Okay.
So it opens up the rear wing. It's really cool.
That's cool. I was trying to think because I have those, what I don't remember what they're called. They're the cheaper radios, but it is 3-channel.
Yeah.
But I was trying to think of something really creative to use the third one for. That would be kind of fun. I was thinking about just like putting one of those horns. You can hook the horn up to the receiver. That would be kind of funny.
I'm gonna send you the link to the Mad Max, and you can perhaps show it.
Sure.
Just because it looks cool.
Okay. I'll see if I can find it.
And yeah, I can see in the chat a lot of people print the front wing and TPU as well.
Okay. Yeah, in chat. Sorry everybody in chat that we've been ignoring you. I love you all. I haven't been paying attention. Where'd you send the link to? Through Twitter or?
No, through here on StreamYard. Okay. There's like a private chat.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now I see it. Cool. Yeah, here. Very nice. I love those tires.
Yeah, I don't think there's an actual print of it because that's still a render, right?
Yeah. Cool.
Somebody should make that for the next Murph.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's like a lot of stuff for the OpenRC F1 on pin shape. And speaking of all the turmoil with Thingiverse and what's happening there, it's weird because I mean during all the years that I've been 3D printing and been in the part of the community, there's a bunch of sites that pop up, but sites like this, the pin shape site that had a lot of promise and they worked a lot on it, and suddenly it just sort of died out. I mean, it's still there, and I think they are actually working on it from time to time, but I don't know I don't think there's much going on within the community anyway.
Yeah, what's the other one that I can't think of it.
Imagine or
no, the other site. Yeah, maybe that's it. Imagine.
Yeah, that's Ultimakers, and I think Pin Shape was bought by Formlabs, I think.
Okay.
Years back.
Yeah.
And Ultimakers got Imagine, and obviously MakeAbot got Thingiverse. But then there are the other ones. There are so many sites.
Yeah.
My Mini Factory, they're huge, I guess, or big. And the cults, 3D cults.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cults and Gumroad is another one that you can share files. Yeah. There's a lot of good ones out there. I do have to tell the story. So when Murph is where you meet everyone. You can meet anybody in our community. You can meet them at Murph usually. But the first time, I guess it was 2018. But I don't even remember the first person that I met. Somebody came up to me and said they knew me, and I bet you I didn't have I had less than 1,000 subscribers at the time. Probably I was just getting started good, and I met somebody and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm wandering around, and then I see Chuck Hellebuck, and I'm like, "Hey, Chuck, I really like your content and whatever." And he's like, "I like your content." And I'm like, "No way, no way that you've actually watched one of my videos." And then after that, I was just wandering around. There's so many people in there. I mean, it's like elbow to elbow, just trying to walk through there during the day. And then we left for a
When,
while, and then we came back.
when was this? 2018.
2018.
Yeah.
2018, yeah. And then after they like after everybody leaves, all the public leaves, there's a lot of us just standing around, and I see Chuck, and I walk over to Chuck, and I'm like, how's it going? He's like, do you know Daniel? And I'm like, and I look, you're just standing there, and I look, and I'm like, you're Daniel Noree. I didn't put it together, but just standing there hanging out, and it was always so surreal for me to go there and meet folks like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's been a wild ride, that's for sure.
Do you think having a YouTube channel has made it sort of easier to, you know, be a not be a part of, but be recognized within the 3D printing community?
Yeah, I mean, it has made it's made it easier. I mean, I really don't consider myself, like doing YouTube videos doesn't make me feel like that I'm, recognizable. It's like, I don't know why, but it's like it's just the thing that I do, and I post it to this site and I forget about it. Uh, but being recognized is not something that I necessarily really enjoy, but I do like it that people want to show me what they're working on and they want to talk about it. That because I like to hear about the other projects. That's the thing that I like to do. I like to go to Murph and people stop me and say, "Hey, you helped me with this, and now I built this," and I'm like, "That's awesome. That's the cool stuff. That's what I really like."
How long have you been doing the YouTube thing?
Um, a little over 5 years now.
Do you feel like you found your niche, or I mean, the content that you make is like, oh, this feels really good. I'm gonna continue doing this.
Um, I wouldn't say I really ever found it. I'm like, so a lot of stuff is like, I got started making videos because I figured this one thing out, and then I kind of wanted to document it. So, it was just easier for me to like do a quick screen share and record it. So I could remember how I did it or whatever. And that's how I got started. Well, I was like, well, I'll just upload it to YouTube, see if people will watch it. And so I started doing that, and I still kind of do that in my content. It's like, hey, this is how you configure this to work on this board. And so I'm still kind of doing that same thing. But I would like to get into more like larger, projects, not just like one-off. Here's how this works. I'd like to get into like, you know, more camera work and going places and filming things and stuff like that. I think that would be a lot of fun. But I don't know, niche, not really. I mean, I just kind of do what comes along.
Are you the kind of person that's been comfortable in front of the camera from the beginning, or?
Not from the beginning, but like I've had to do lots of presentations and things like that for what I do for a living over the years. Um, you know, I'm comfortable talking to a group of folks or anything like that. So that's just kind of how I feel with YouTube. It has gotten a lot easier over the last 5 years. At the beginning, it wasn't. It didn't feel all that natural, but now it's not that big a deal. But it's still fun. I still enjoy it. I like the community. I like interacting with all the folks. That's the best part.
Cool. I think so as well.
Yeah. So what about you? Like, do you have any desire to like start making some more videos? Because you used to do it fairly frequently.
Actually, it's I mean, I make a shit ton of videos these days, but
Yeah.
they're not in English.
Right. That's true.
So I had like a goal to get to 10,000 subscribers, and then I did, and me and Anton, we had almost like a competition going, so we're like pumping out content, and to be honest, most of it's not great. I'm talking about my content right now, not Anton. He's awesome. But then I hit 10,000, and it sort of just faded out in a way, I think. And then I realized I enjoy making videos, in my native language a lot more, because becomes more natural, as you speak and you find all the words they're just there.
Right.
And so it just became more relaxed and more fun to do videos in Swedish instead. And I'd like to make videos for my 3D printing channel, if you will, but at the same time, it's like I don't know what I'm gonna talk about, because in the beginning there was so much knowledge that I had picked up, and I 3D printed 24/7. I learned a lot, and I could share this. Now it's like I haven't done anything in years, and everyone that would probably be watching would already know all this stuff. So
Right.
I don't know, but it would be fun to make a video from time to time to just connect to the community.
Yeah.
But going back to the beginning, as it's been so important for me, with the YouTube has been important to get the word out, with my projects, and spread the word in a way. So it's been really crucial, perhaps, to get the spread of the projects as I've been able to get. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, anytime you want to do a project or you want to do some sort of video where you tell me how to 3D print it and I'll print it for you, you just let me know.
I'm looking forward to seeing you doing a video about the OpenRC F1 and printing it, the Mclaren version.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely have to do the Mclaren version. We'll figure out something for that.
Have you ever seen an F1 race? Or
Yeah, like the ones at Murph. Yeah, I've seen those. I've seen a few of the destruction derbies too. Those are
yeah,
always fun.
but you haven't seen the real thing.
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Because there was I think I have to send you, if you want a cool color scheme, McLaren actually did some sort of retro thing this year. That was
Okay,
amazing. So I'm gonna send that to you, just
cool,
for some to get some ideas, perhaps.
cool. Well, I mean, we've been going for almost an hour and a half. Anything else? Anything cool for the future? Anything like that before we go?
I mean, honestly, it's just so great to speak to someone else, having been, locked down in a basement for 2 years. Last time I went to Murph, that was great, but at the same time, I felt like I'll probably stay home for a couple of years.
Yeah,
And now I'm like, man, I can't wait to go and see everyone again.
yeah.
Having a coffee or a beer or whatever, and just talk shit.
I
So
totally agree.
yeah,
Totally, I'm ready to get back.
yeah, and I want to get into 3D printing as well. It's just there's just so much other stuff that takes up all the extra, the spare time right now. So, but I have all this filament I have to use up. You can.
Oh my gosh. And it's so nice and organized.
And then there's.
Wow.
Hold on, I'm just gonna up there, down there. I mean, there's. Yeah, it's almost to the point of embarrassing, but there's my first printer, the Thingomatic.
Nice.
Yeah, and the big Benchy. I don't know if it would qualify as a big Benchy these days, but at least it's mine.
It's a pretty big Benchy.
This is the biggest one I've got, and let me show you the smallest one. I don't know if you can even see it in.
Wow.
There. That's tiny.
That is tiny.
I'd like to have a metal Benchy, but no one has sent one to me, so not just yet.
We'll have to see if we can make that happen.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we can call it there. Thanks everybody for coming to the chat, hanging out. I am actually going to take some snippets from this and put it in one of the other videos that we're going to come out with for OpenRC. Just kind of a revisit, and then maybe we'll do the Mclaren one as well. We might have to
Definitely
do more of these. I really do love this project, though. I've been messing with it for years now, and it's a lot of fun. So if you don't have an F1 car, you need to print one now.
Yep.
So
definitely, you should.
All right. Well, we'll stop the stream for now. Thanks everybody for joining. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you all later.
See ya.